On today's show, we have John Scanlon with us. John, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Jacob. Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, so gearing up for this movie Bonhoeffer, which we're about to get into. But how's 2024 been for you? And coming up on a big election, I hear that's going on. So, how's life been going for you?
I heard a rumor about that too. Well, it's I got to say it's been a very exciting year because after 12 or 13, depending on how you count our start date, years on this film, we're finally going to be in theaters, and that's a huge milestone for us. We're thrilled to be bringing such a beautiful picture to the cinema, and we're just excited about it and telling everyone we can to buy tickets for opening weekend. So yeah, it's been a great year. It's magical. I'm pinching myself, honestly.
Yeah. So Bonhoeffer, pastor, spy, assassin. I was able to preview this movie a few days ago, and wow, man, I just love these. Well, I love true stories, first of all, but I also just love the thematics of it and just the beauty of it. And we'll get into the music and everything, but the acting is incredible. Can you just tell our viewers and our listeners about this movie?
You bet. So when we started on this journey 12 years ago, we were all Bonhoeffer fans. We knew his writing. We'd read books about his life and his times, and it was just it's an incredibly inspiring story because here's a guy who basically gave it all. He has a famous line where he says, "When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die." And Dietrich Bonhoeffer gave everything in pursuit of his ideals and of his passionate love for Jesus and his desire to follow him in an incredibly difficult time in history, even though he had multiple opportunities to escape Germany, and in fact, a couple of times did leave for the United States and other countries. He always came back because he always felt his cross lay in that country. And he was someone who was against the Nazis from the beginning. There are fascinating aspects of his life story that you may not know if you've just read his works. And one of them that we explore in the film in some detail is how he came to America to go to Union Seminary in Manhattan, but wound up going to Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, and really was inspired there to live out his faith in a real and dramatic way, which he did in Germany, fighting injustice and doing everything he could to call attention to what the Nazis were doing. So I don't mean to make it sound like a dry historical drama, because the thing that I love the most about this film, to be honest, is that it is it's an extremely well-made film, with the production values of a major motion picture. We have submitted this film for Academy Awards, and we believe it's worthy of that. It was shot by our amazing director of photography, John Matheson, who did Gladiator, and in fact left our set on the day we wrapped to go work on Gladiator 2. So he's got a beautiful eye, and our film looks and sounds like a major motion picture. The acting, as you mentioned, is just stellar. I can't say enough good things about our actors. And the writing and directing by Todd Komernick, who's fantastically gifted artist, and everyone else for everything about the film, from the set design to the costuming to the props. I was lucky enough to be on set in Belgium and Ireland almost every day, and I can tell you that a tremendous amount of attention, detail, passion, and intelligence, as well as just emotional commitment on the part of the actors. It's all on screen, and it's a beautiful experience. It's a captivating experience. I was just listening to someone who wrote a review about it recently. Said, when I go into the theater, I want to lose myself in the story. I want to just, for an hour and a half or 2 hours, I just want to be swept up in another world. And that's what happens in this film. You will enter Dietrich Bonhoeffer's world and experience Nazi Germany and 1930s Harlem and everything else that he lived through his eyes, and you'll be caught up in an amazing story, a really captivating, inspiring story.
Yeah, there's some intense moments in it, and it's man, you said you got to shoot it in Ireland and in Belgium. That's pretty sweet. I mean, that's not too shabby. Get to be in a beautiful place like that. I'm sure pictures don't justify, where you were and everything.
Yeah, it was. Those are two beautiful locations for you filmmakers out there. Very attractive for their tax incentives as well as every other reason to shoot a film in those two countries. And it was amazing that that our set designer and cinematographer and costume head were able to recreate, a pretty convincing series of sets that look like what you expect pre-war and wartime Germany and New York and England to look like in these very different environments. So yeah, fabulous places to shoot movies and frankly just to be. So yeah, I'd recommend them.
Yeah.
If you've been to Belgium but you've never been outside Brussels, go outside Brussels. Go to the countryside. It's a different world. It's an amazing place.
And I'm sure when you guys shot this film and was looking for a release date, I mean, how much more fitting than a time like this, John, for this movie to come out Thanksgiving time, but not just Thanksgiving, but I mean, with everything going on in Israel and the division and the hatred towards the Jewish people, and it's like, what year are we in now? And it's crazy, but you all didn't plan that. I mean, that's a total God thing, and I just think that's pretty incredible, the timing of this film.
It is a total God thing. We went through 4 teams of screenwriters over the years, 4 very different approaches to telling this story. The first time around, it was kind of a dark psychological thriller. The second time around, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was kind of a James Bond type, and so on and so forth. We tried telling the story in lots of different ways. Todd Komernicki was the storyteller who unlocked the secret of how to tell Bonhoeffer's life in a really dramatic and compelling way on screen, we think. And I think that's what you're getting here. We would have, if it had been up to us, we would have released this film in 2014 or 2015. We made a concerted effort again to try and get it on the market in 2019. And I'm glad we failed because it would have been in theaters during COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, the timing of this is definitely the Lord's, and we're super grateful to be coming out at what I think is going to be the perfect time. As everything else about this film has been in God's hands, and He's directed it, and you can just see when you look back over the life of this film, the doors that were closed, the doors that were opened, the roads not traveled. Everything about it is just his hand is very evident on it from looking back over the development of the story.
Yeah. So when did you guys film this?
We filmed it in end of 2022, beginning of 2023.
Okay, gotcha. Nice.
Yeah. So over that holiday season. And by the way, if you're planning to travel to Belgium or Ireland, I'd pick other seasons. It's a little chilly in both places that time of year. So
yeah,
good skiing in Belgium. So,
yeah. Well, let's talk about the cast. The cast in this film. I mean, if you don't have a good cast, then you're not going to have a really great movie. So, I mean, I was looking at their biographies, and about, I think correct me if I'm wrong, 95% are all foreign, and all from Germany and different places like that. And what an eclectic cast. So how did that come together, picking and choosing your cast?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We were very committed to the idea of having the German good guys of this movie portrayed by Germans.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a question when you're shooting a film that's set in a foreign country. Do we use American actors and try to get away with sort of generic German accents? Normally that doesn't work, so you wind up with a cast doing sort of faux British accents, or maybe you go and hire British actors. We didn't really want to go down those roads.
You didn't get Larry the Cable Guy. I mean,
maybe Larry the Cable Guy and tell him like try and do your best. Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Maybe it'll work.
that would have been interesting.
Yeah. No, we didn't do that. We very purposely wanted to draw sort of the best of current German actors into the mix, and I think we really succeeded. I mean, Jonas Dassler is just a superstar in the making. He's a fantastic actor. You've seen the film, so you can testify. He really just brings Dietrich Bonhoeffer alive in a way that, I remember we were all electrified by his audition, and we were considering a number of very talented young actors from Germany and other countries. And I think we all had this moment where we were watching him do his audition, and we just sort of sat back and said, well, that's obviously the guy. We have to have him. He did not want to do the film. In fact, he wasn't acting at the time. He told his agent to, not take any scripts. But Todd and our casting director was very persistent. And there was he actually went to his grandmother's funeral. And I hope I'm getting the story right. I've heard it a couple of times, but it was a while ago. But he was asked to read, I believe he was asked to read a poem at her funeral. And when he got to the end, he realized that the poem's author was Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Mm. So he went back and told his agent, all right, I'll read the script. And the rest is history. He loved the script. He loves Todd. Todd got an amazing performance out of him. But that's not to belittle the contributions of the other members of this crazy cast. I mean, August Diehl is fantastic as Niemöller. Nadine Heidenreich just shines as Paula, Bonhoeffer's mother. I could go on and on. David Johnson, who's a rising star, does a terrific job as Frank Fisher, who befriends Bonhoeffer in New York and introduces him to Abyssinian Baptist Church. Flula Borg, who you probably know from his kind of comedic work, and maybe from Suicide Squad 2 and Pitch Perfect 2, is an amazing member of the cast, and he plays Dietrich Bonhoeffer's brother-in-law, who ultimately manages to get him inside the Abwehr as an inside sort of double agent within German military intelligence. And he's terrific. I mean, everybody in this film, everybody on screen is just fantastic. Absolute A-listers, in my opinion. So, yeah, great film. Really, really well done.
Yeah. So, John, I'm sure you may have seen him before, like on YouTube, videos that show like these Oscar-winning movies, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Jaws, just to name a few, but show the movie without the music, and it's like these intense scenes of a T-Rex getting ready to eat this man, and it's like with no music, it's kind of boring.
Yeah,
and so,
right.
Man, music, like I said, well, acting makes movies, but the music also, and the music in this is amazing, and I just love whoever did it, and that's what we're going to get into, and tell us about who was in charge of the music and how that come about. And then we talked before we hit record of something else that you guys have coming up.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let me lead with that if you don't mind.
Sure.
Keep your eyes on or your ears on your favorite music streaming platform on November 1, because we're going to be releasing a single by an artist you'll know and probably love, who is contributing a track to the film score, and I think that's going to be a huge bonus for our film, and I think just a track you're going to love by an artist that you know and love. I think that'll be it'll be a big day for our film, so I'm excited about that. The music of the film, when you're talking about just having a different experience when you're watching a film with and without music, we, as you might expect, there have been a tremendous number of cuts of this film that we've watched, starting with the watching the monitors as the shooting was being done, watching the dailies, and then watching kind of the first compilations of scenes. you can see how pretty it is, but the emotional impact of the film, in many ways, comes from the music. Have you seen the trailer for the film?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't watch that trailer, and I don't know how many times I've watched it without getting goosebumps at that cover of Sound of Silence by David Draymond, the lead singer of Disturbed. It's just, and you could do the same thing with that trailer. You could turn the sound off and be somewhat moved by the images, but the music is what really pulls it all together. And I think we have a similar, excuse me, a similar punch in the screenplay. In the sound composition of the film. Nick Angel was our music supervisor. It's a fantastic job. Really, just so many people contribute to the music. It's hard to sort of pick one person to praise. Gabriel Pinto did the score and did a phenomenal job. But the thing about the film's score that's so incredible is that we have everything from the kind of dramatic elements of the score that you'd expect in a spy film, the extremely tense and moving parts, but then you also have this entire kind of, I almost want to call it like a sub score of the what am I saying? What am I thinking of? The Harlem scenes, and I'd actually, and then of course that sort of segues into the kind of gospel centered, and by that I mean African American gospel music of Abyssinian Baptist Church, which to this day has a very famous choir. And I'd actually be very interested in your opinion about those elements of the film, where when Bonhoeffer visits a jazz club and when he's in the church there, falling in love with gospel music. Was that how did you as a music aficionado and expert sort of react to that? How did that strike you?
No, that was incredible. I like the different, what's the word? I guess eclectic, like just the different styles, like you said, just to change it up. I really, everything ran smoothly. We've listened to a lot of movie soundtracks, and some movie soundtracks are a lot of like songs that other people have sang or whatever, but to be original to the movie is even more special. But yeah, we loved it all. So
what was your favorite part of the soundtrack?
Oh man.
If any particular part stood out, like where were you feeling the music the most?
Well, again, that trailer's intense. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one, but for sure the trailer, I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to think on that one.
Okay. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
You're putting me on the spot. So
yeah. So yeah, it's incredible. I'm excited. November 22nd is when it comes out, but we're going to switch gears for a moment, John, and our listeners and viewers, they really love this segment of the interview. And it's more of a kind of get to know you type thing, a little rapid fire question called favorite things. And so I'm just going to give you a word and you tell me your favorite thing in that category. Ready?
Okay.
All right. First one. What is your favorite food?
Cajun.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? That's probably a first. A lot of people normally say pizza or steak or, but Cajun, I love Cajun. Do you like, oh Lord, what's the, is it crawfish? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Not as much as shrimp. If you give me a choice between crawfish and shrimp and a gumbo, I'm going to go with the shrimp.
There you go. Are you like a low boil guy?
Oh, absolutely. My wife's from Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, nice.
So low country boils are an amazing part of that area's cuisine. I got to tell you though, I moved to Wyoming a few years ago. They have they have crawfish boils in the mountains of Wyoming.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't even know they had crawfish, but they do the same kind of thing. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Okay. What do you have a favorite movie?
The Matrix.
Matrix. Okay. Yeah, those are great. I love them all. You have a favorite show that you like to watch?
I got to stop you there. Only the first Matrix is canon. Everything else is cash grab. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on here, but his John Wick movies, I wouldn't really recommend them to younger people, but those are great movies. And
they're a lot of fun.
Me and my wife, we watched them all.
Yeah.
We watched them all. We went to the theater and we saw the last one, but parts 1 through 3 were streaming on some Peacock or something. I don't know, but we ended up watching them all in like 2 days. So those are great films.
They are. And you know what? If it weren't, it's neither the Matrix nor the John Wick films would be the same without Keanu Reeves. He's something. No. He's got a thing.
Yeah.
And it really works on screen.
Yeah.
I just love watching.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Do you have a favorite show that you like?
Right now I'm really enjoying Slow Horses, but I think it's mainly because I read the books and thought they were hilarious and really well written. The show's a little quirky, and it's not going to be everyone's favorite flavor, but it's a personal choice. I like it.
Do you have a favorite music? Go ahead.
Can I give a more correct answer?
Sure.
The Chosen. I'm eagerly awaiting every season now. Seriously, I love that show.
Yeah.
I really do. And hats off to Dallas Jenkins and the rest of the team for creating that.
Yeah.
Amazing series.
Yeah.
So that's an odd mix. Probably not a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram. People watching Slow Horses.
Yeah. Chosen. We did some media at ChosenCon a few months back in Orlando. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I've never been to a ChosenCon, and I went, and there was like 6 or 7,000 people there. And it was they rented out a whole Marriott, like a convention center, like this big convention center. And
wow,
I've heard of like Comic Cons and people dressing up and everything, but I was not expecting people to walk around in biblical costumes, and they were.
How many people were dressed like Quintus?
I was looking for like someone walking down with like no shirt on being beat. I didn't see anybody like that. But,
thank goodness. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But it was interesting. But I will say it was an awesome experience. But I would never dress up.
Somebody's got to do a documentary about ChosenCon. That sounds hilarious.
Do you have a favorite music artist of all time?
77s.
Okay. Respect that one. What about something that you do outside of doing movies?
I mentioned a minute ago that my wife and I moved to Wyoming in 2021. I honestly, when I'm not making movies, what I'm doing, what I love being involved in is I work for a company that's turning waste into green fuels. And it's just it's a wonderful, I love working with the people there because I'm related to them. So it's a family business, but it's also just an amazing mission. It's an amazing kind of stewardship journey and adventure. And I love that part of what I do.
Do you have a favorite ice cream flavor?
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road. Is there a podcast that you listen to that you like?
I am one of those people who is more of a visual learner.
Sure.
So I am struggling to get into podcasts and audiobooks.
Yeah.
I also have an extremely short commute. It's a 7-minute walk.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of opportunities to listen to stuff. But I think I'm going to start listening to your podcasts because you sound like my kind of people.
There you go. Well, you passed the favorite things, rapid fire. You did good. Well, John, what do you hope viewers will take away watching Bonhoeffer, and where can people get their tickets?
So people can get tickets right now by going to angel.com/tickets/Bonhoeffer, which is spelled Bonhoeffer. You can actually get them for it, depending on what you do there is just enter your zip code and it'll throw up show times for you in your area. The movie doesn't officially open until November 22, but it's opening a day early in a lot of locations. So look for that November 21 date. And right now there's a code on the website for 26% off. And you can use those tickets, sort of anywhere, anytime. So book now. If you're a fan, if you want to help the film, one thing a lot of people don't know is that opening weekend is everything for a movie. So if you are planning to go see the film, please do everything you can to see it on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to help boost our opening weekend numbers. And thank you. Buy a ticket for a friend. I promise you, I don't care what age they are, where they're from, what their political leanings are, or even if they've ever seen a movie before, they are going to thank you for taking them to this film, because this is a above all an entertaining and inspiring film. You will come out of it wanting to be the best version of yourself, wanting to be braver, wanting to fight for the things you believe in. But you'll also come out having watched a movie that moved you, that made you laugh, that made you cry, and that just is it's the best of everything you could expect from art in a cinema, and you will really, really enjoy it. I promise. I hope you go more than once.
Yeah. John, what is next for you besides the film, and how can our viewers and our listeners keep up with you?
Oh, thanks for asking. Well, I've got a IMDb profile, imdb.com. Just look me up by my name. That's probably the best way to kind of stay on top of what's going on. I am currently working on 3 other projects. The one nearest to release, and therefore nearest and dearest to my heart, is a fantastic sports documentary about the life and times of Roberto Clemente Jr. Roberto Clemente, who was a Pittsburgh Pirate back in the 60s and 70s. Fantastic ball player, civil rights icon, extremely interesting guy who lived in an extremely interesting era. And the filmmakers, David Altrogge and Michael Hartnett, are just really, really gifted storytellers. And you're going to want to watch all their movies once you watch this one. But coming soon to a theater near you. It's called Clemente. And the other films I'm working on, I can't really say much about at this stage. But I am very excited to be involved in a bunch of other productions that I think are going to be enjoyable as well.
Nice.
So thanks for asking.
Well, to wrap up, I'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help build our viewers and our listeners' faith.
Wow, that's an excellent question. I guess I'm in a season in life where I feel like I'm gaining a tremendous amount of value from kind of revisiting and meditating on and spending time thinking about my sort of earliest days as a believer. I think John would call that, renewing your first love. So I'm not someone who journals or spends a lot of time sort of introspecting, as it were. But I do find it really, really valuable and fun, frankly, to go back to my kind of first encounter with Jesus and thinking about the kind of person I was at the time, why God approached me in the way that he did, and what impact that had on me at the time, and what that has to teach me about some of the things I'm going through now. I think we have cycles in our lives. We have seasons that we go through more than once. And I love the idea that we can draw a lesson just from that fact, and think about the ways in which God's trying to teach us things again, or teach us the same thing in a new way. Always remember your first love, and always go back to that as many times as you can, and kind of revisit how that felt. I mean, it's sort of like being in love, right? It's like being in a marriage. You want to keep that. You want to keep those early sparks and those early those early embers hot as long as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I tell people. I'm a pastor too. And I always say, if you're married and you never talk to your spouse, your relationship would be lousy. It's the same with God. If you never open the word or just talk to him whenever you need something, then your relationship with God's not going to be great. So that's a good word.
Well said.
Well, John, thank you so much for chatting with me. Bonhoeffer's Pastor, Spy, Assassin comes out November 22nd. We're excited about it, and we're excited to see what you guys have coming after this. And November 1st, be looking out for the song with a part of the film. So tickets on angel.com, correct?
Yes, tickets on, I'll give you the exact URL. It's angel.com/tickets/Bonhoeffer.